Good evening, everyone. Welcome tonight. Welcome to our Zoom meeting tonight, the Moyata Organization. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, panel. Welcome to our new ladies and to Team Sharon. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sharon is going to, before we start, as we always do, we always start with a prayer. So we're going to ask Hasina to lead us in prayer.
Okay. Almighty God, our creator, our provider, our sustainer, our everything, our all in all. As we come together once again on a Thursday evening, we ask that you keep on blessing us. We don't have to ask you to bless us because we have to say, keep on blessing us because we are blessed each and every second of our lives. So we ask that you keep on blessing us, bless this group here, so that we will have the wisdom, the knowledge, whatever it takes to move forward with our goals. Almighty Father, we give thanks for life, we give thanks for health and strength within this life, and we give thanks for communion all the time. Keep us safe, keep us well, keep everyone in this whole universe safe and well, dear Father. And most of all, help us to understand more about how to have a relationship with you. And when we do that, everything will be well. So we put ourselves in your hands this night, dear Father, as we praise, magnify, and glorify your holy name.
Amen.
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 Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Thank you for that prayer. Thank you. Tonight we have Miss Sharon Spice. She's going to lead us. Yeah, she's going to lead, she's going to host, well, she's going to lead this event tonight. As everyone saw, the event tonight is about stop and search. I mean, in Europe, I don't know about Africa, in Europe, there's so much stop and search that it has become really, it's not making sense to most of us anymore. It has become unbearable. It has become vindictive. It has become unreasonable, and it has become senseless. So tonight we've got Sharon, who specializes in that field. She's going to talk us through this stop and search tonight. And if we have any questions or at any point you want to stop and interrupt her, just feel free. Sharon, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. I think I'll tell you a little bit about myself before we start. So I'm Sharon Spice. I'm an actor, a writer, and a youth worker and mentor. I'm based in North London, and at the minute I'm working with young people, hence my reason in terms of stop and search. And the reason why I thought it was quite important to have this topic is the fact that it's becoming more prevalent that more Black people are getting stopped, notably Dawn Butler and the athlete Bianca Williams. So a lot of people don't understand stop and search and what their rights are. So I'm hoping to educate you guys, and then you guys can go out and then educate your young people. If the young people are educated, then they'll be able to challenge the stop and search and know exactly what they are supposed to do. So as well as working with young people, I actually got the opportunity to go to the Met and see how stop and search is officially conducted. And I'm afraid to tell you that what we're seeing on the TV and the media is being executed incorrectly. If you were to be stopped and searched properly, you would not be offended, but there is racial profiling and we are proportionately discriminated against when it comes to stop and search. Okay, is that okay, everyone?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Very much so.
So what I wanted to do is show you this flyer. I don't know if you can see it up close.
Yeah.
It's called Why Stop Search Card, and it's got a phone number. And if you go online and put Why Stop in it, it's got loads of resources about stop and search in different countries, Somalia, in different languages, in different subtitles for everyone in terms of stop and search and what you need to do. So what I will do, I'm going to quickly go through it with you. So I live right on the roundabout with like a fire engine, police, like hospital, railway. So please bear with me.
That's all right. That's okay.
So this stop and search card, you can give it to any young person, and you can even carry it yourself. I would advise to give it to young black boys from the age of probably secondary school. So
where do we get that from?
So if you go online and you go to Why Stop,
okay.
There's loads of resources there. They will send you the information, and it's all in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it, and it has an app.
Yeah, and it has an app. Very good, Cecilia.
I'm there.
Always taking notes.
Well done, receptionist or secretary.
I want to take notes.
Yes, exactly.
So it's easy enough for a young person to put into their bus pass, because this is how small it is, and it's got all the information. So the first time my son got stopped, he was 14. He's very tall, and I was with him, so they conducted the search properly. But after that, including up until last week, he was stopped and searched, just solely because of the car he was driving. So we've got a lot of work to do.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So the first thing, in terms of Dawn Butler and Bianca Williams, when it comes to the police, you have to stay calm. You can't get upset with them. You know what they're coming there for, so you have to be patient, be polite, stay calm. Even if they're harassing you, stay calm. And the reason why you do this is when the police are aggravating our young black people, the more you stay calm, you kill the vibe that they're trying to incite to cause an arrest, to cause friction.
Yeah.
If you're nice, you don't start the embers, you don't start the fires. But if you start railing around and the police are like, yeah, okay, yeah, we've got a live one here. Let's get her down in it.
It's true, Sharon. Because it says in my country where I come from, Sierra Leone, it says it's 2 bangles that rattle. So if you have 1 bangle on your hand, it doesn't rattle on its own. It doesn't cause noise, except you add another one to it. Then you hear it rattling, shaking. Like you said, if you don't rattle, you don't give them the upper hand. So I think you're quite correct.
Yeah. The other thing is, be as polite as you can. Give eye contact. If they tell your young person, if the police are coming up and they're trying to intimidate them, if they haven't done anything wrong, look them in the eye. Give them that eye contact to let them know I haven't done anything wrong, and I'm focused on you. So let's do this search and conduct it correctly, and then we can both go. The other thing I need to say, if you're staying calm, giving plenty of eye contact, then you are catching them off guard, and it makes them harder to bully you. So that's another thing we need to tell our young people. Whilst this search is being conducted, get the young person to ask them questions. Why am I being stopped? What has occurred? Is there something going on in the neighborhood? And even record it. Get your phone out and start recording the whole process. Because what we need now, which is so good, is loads of media footage and witnessing, and we can record the police. The police, we are allowed to record the police. No matter what they tell you, if they tell you put your phone down, you're not supposed to have it, and they try to confiscate it. It's actually legal. You are allowed to record the whole arrest, the whole stop and search.
Yeah, that's very good to know.
Okay, and the questions are, usually the questions that I'd say that you should ask are, why are you stopping me? What is it are you looking for? Are you looking for drugs? Are you looking for money? But don't leave them in it. You're asking them the question. Let them answer and hang themselves, because it's usually, oh, I smell weed. Now, if you're a non-smoker, they have to move it to something else. And then you see the trail of lies and deceit that they're on. It's just about racial profiling our young Black people.
Yeah.
Also, it's a good idea for the young person to ask for their badge number and where they work. So you just say, officer, can I get your badge number and where you're stationed, please? They might ask you why. Sometimes it's removed already on purpose, and you know if it's removed and you cannot locate it because it's always on the shoulder, that then there's a problem. Again, they're being they're not being proper. They're being dishonest, because you can ask any officer for their number on their sleeve.
So they should always have their number on their sleeve.
Yes, basically it just says where they are, what kind of force they are, and what station they are. Doesn't make sense to us, but it makes sense in stationary terms. So it says their station and where they're located, which borough, Lambeth, Enfield, Tottenham.
Okay.
Hello?
No, it's okay. You keep talking. It's all right.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing is, where you're from. Find out what station they're from. And then while the search is going on, they're allowed to search you, but they're not allowed to pull if they want to do an intimate search, like, you know, sometimes you see all these pictures of these young boys and they've got all their trousers down and they've got them exposed, embarrassing them in the road. That is not supposed to happen. Any form of intimate search, you need to go down to the station or go into the van. They're not allowed to conduct those intimate searches out in the public. So that's another young thing your person can say, well, I'm not comfortable with you searching me inappropriately in the public space. If it's a girl, because they do search girls too, if there's just 2 officers there, she has to refuse and say, look, you need a female officer.
Okay.
So they either send one, or they bring her down the station, or they let her go.
Okay.
Okay, so then the last thing is, they're supposed to give you a receipt. And basically it's acknowledgement that you've been stopped and searched, and that the search was conducted properly, correctly, and that you are now free to go. The other reason why you must request this and ask for it and be quite adamant. If they say they don't have it, say, I'm ready to go down to the office, I'm ready to come to the station, I need a copy. And the reason why I say this is, once you've got that receipt, and if this young person is getting stopped all the time, they can show it before the stop and search happens again. So if the person keeps getting it repeatedly stop and search, if they keep the receipt, they can show their next set of officers, and they will be left alone because they will know they've already been stopped.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then if done incorrectly or inappropriately, as it means if he's been roughed up, if they arrest without telling him that he's arrested or her, you should make a complaint to the station and then take it higher. People complain all the time. There's not really much of an outcome unless you do it personally yourself, as in you take the police to court. But at least put it down on record and say, look, I complained about the police.
Okay.
Okay, any questions?
Any questions?
No, for me.
Not really. Yeah, not for me too. Yeah.
That's good to know. It's good to know, because to be honest with you, I have no idea. I just see what's on telly. But it's good to know that somebody who's actually there has actually told us what it's all about and explained it properly. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah. Where I went to Hendon, and Hendon has their police headquarters there. It's their training school. And I went there solely to watch the training of stop and search, because I was quite worried about the in cases of stop and search and the link between that and knife crime. So I was afforded to go. There was about 30 police officers, rookies as they're called. And out of that 30, 3 were people of colour. So that just goes to show the lack of diversity within the police force already. So we're already behind. Because there's going to be a lot of police out there that don't associate themselves with us.
Sharon, I want to get 1 second. I want to ask something. Is it true that if someone in a family has committed a crime, that everyone that has that surname cannot apply for job in the police with the police, or is that true?
I don't think it is, because there's a lot of police that have crooked family and they still be police officers. Like they might be a police officer, but they have a rogue brother or sister. So I'm going to say no.
No.
No,
Okay.
it's not true.
Not true.
All right, because honestly, because someone was saying that someone's son got arrested, and because he works for the force, he said he cannot visit the son or else he will lose his job.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Matilda, that is what you're talking about is quite, sorry to cut in there, is quite extreme to say if you have the same surname, in which case there's a lot of people, as Sharon says, a lot of those police officers came from the old East End gangster people. So if you're looking at the name alone, then a lot of them would be in jail just for their name. So to say, because you have the same surname, I think that's a bit extreme. However, there must be some protocol which can help them to decide, same as if you're applying to be a magistrate, you know, the kind of links that you have within your family. People will look into your history. To join the police force and even associates, even as a receptionist sometimes, you have to get credit checks, right? So there's all of these things, but to say you of the same family necessarily, I don't think that is true, and certainly not of the same name, because anyone then can change their name, and you know, if they're criminal, or that would mean a whole lot of police officers would be in jail, or they would be excluded. People would be excluded from jail.
And unfortunately, the police have lowered their standards in terms of the police bar and what they're looking for in quality of service. And I think that is strongly also linked to the poor service that we get as the Black community in policing in general.
Okay. But sometimes, I mean, I'll let you continue, but sometimes, you know, when we have our people in the police, you know, on the panel or anything, sometimes they are no help. Sometimes. Sometimes they're no help.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying, or sometimes they can be worse, right?
Yeah.
But this is the pressure of the police force and them having that reflection, like, I don't want to be not too nice to you because then it looks like I'm helping out a sister, or just because I'm Black doesn't mean that I'm going to be helping you any better or any less. So that's why they're sometimes a bit harsh. It's happened to me.
Okay.
But I think just they want to prove that because you're Black, it doesn't mean nothing. But what they do instead is they penalise us more.
Okay. Yeah, but if that is the case, if you are a police officer, well, if I am a police officer as a Black woman, I mean, you can penalize all you want, you know, but I think I would just want to do my job the right way. I'm not going to look left or right or look for someone to give me the thumbs up, you know, before I can carry on doing my job. I think we have a bad mentality, not just in the police force, but in all walks of life, even when you go to hospitals.
Yeah,
Different places, you know, when they give them position, they misuse it. Our people misuse it. So
Yeah.
we just have to carry on, especially as mothers. We have to carry on fighting for our children, whether you're a black officer or white officer or black manager or white manager. I don't care. We just have to continue to work with our kids, because the kids these days, I think, have a better attitude, you know, because they know the law. I think they know their place more than, you know, most of us in this our generation working in places of authority. I think that should be discussed as well, because there's so much
That's
confusion.
another topic, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
a wider topic altogether.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
It is.
just we
I think
are.
what you
Forget
said is
politics.
true.
Yeah.
Coming from an older generation, I think that's what we've been brought up or we've been taught to say. When you're in a position, if somebody else comes, you should try and help that person regardless. I know it's wrong. The younger ones don't do that now. They try and do what is right. But we, from the older generation, is what we've been taught to say, oh, you're a black man. If a black man comes into your company to work, you have to help them. You have to.
Not in that sense. Not in that sense. What I'm trying to say is when most, not maybe not all, but 90%, you know, when black people are in position and they're working with white people, and let's say, for example, a black child or son comes in, you know, and does something wrong, you know.
Yeah.
They even if they haven't done anything wrong, you know, and maybe a white person picks on them, they are going to ignore you. They're going to make the thing worse for you. They are not going to help in any way. You know,
It's different situations for different days, I think. Different people.
Can I just say something?
I agree to disagree with both of you.
Yeah.
Because it's different situation, but Moyata is right as well as Melinda is right where she's coming from, because I'm in the education system and I've been doing this for 20 years. And for 20 years, I have been in position where I've trained other staff members who have met within the position, who don't have the remit to be there anyway, because I've got the experience more than them. But the position was offered to them because of their color, the color of their skin. They will not tell you per se that this position has been handed down to them. But then when I went in there, I was given the mandate to train this person who is supposed to be my manager. So it's different situation for different people altogether. And for us Black people, I think where we're coming from, the stop and search, coming back to where we are, our children and ourselves, we need to understand calm. Because of the situation going on, our children are fed up. We are fed up. Sometimes we come out too close and too uncomfortable. And because of the misgivings and the pressures that we have in our situations, we come out sometimes too loud or too negative straight away. And that as well is what they want to see from Sharon's point of view. And if they're aggravated enough because we are challenging them and they feel that we are in their face, they tend to turn it against us. Because in these situations, I've been teaching these young kids for about 20 years now. And these kids are the same going on for 20 years. They've been in that same situation over the years. So yes, go on, John, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, go ahead. I don't want to obstruct you. I was going back to this issue about stop and search.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask, if Sharon can help me out there. If a policeman stops you and you ask him, why do you stop me? Why are you searching me? Would that police, is there any specific reason? Can that police give you a specific reason why he's stopping you? Because say he tells you, I'm searching for a knife, and it goes on to find something else in your pocket. Is he going to say, no, this is not what I was looking for. I was looking for a knife.
Okay, so the police needs 4 to 5 elements of suspicion to stop you. So the first one is if you're acting dodgy. If you're acting in a way that they find suspicious, in terms of, I don't know, it's a hot summer's day and you've got a puffer jacket jacket on and you've got a bag with a tool case, so you look like a burglar, and then they've been radioed, there's burglars in the area, you will get stopped and searched. If there's been a stabbing locally and you're a young black boy and you're walking up and down within Hackney and it's happened in Hackney, unfortunately, it's high proportionately at the moment, black boys are stabbing each other, you will get stopped.
If you're wearing a hoodie, you will get stopped. And if there's a problem going on, you get stopped.
The hoodie is not a form of suspicion, so you could actually complain about that, because wearing a hoodie don't denote anything about you. It doesn't say that you're a criminal. It doesn't say anything. It just gives you that visual, that look that maybe you're up to something. And the other one is that they can stop and search you in your car. I got educated when I went to the Met, because I just equated stop and search to on the road, but stop and search includes your home, includes your car, anything on you, not just you. So in terms of them stopping the vehicle, like what happened to Dawn, that their excuse was that she had tinted windows. Now the lie that they told, yes, she did have tinted windows and it wasn't her vehicle. However, you can only stop someone if the whole of the windows are tinted, which they weren't. It was only the back. But you're not going to hear that from the media and this the negativity that they're swirling around. That's what it's like. That was lie.
Yeah. A colleague of mine was, like you were saying, was stopped in her home. She's a teacher as well. She's a lecturer, and they came to her home because she was playing loud music in her car during this COVID-19, and she had stopped playing the music, gone upstairs to meet her family and stuff, and they said some neighbor called, and they came in, and they took her by force, put her in a vehicle. They took her straight to the COVID-19 ward somewhere, straight away. She said they injected her with something, but she couldn't find, she doesn't know what it was. She woke up, and then there was one of the black, I think a black nurse or doctor or somebody told her, "What are you doing here?" And she said, "I don't know, that's why I'm asking. I just woke up and saw myself here." All I remembered was the police came in and they arrested me in front of my children. They forced me out of the house.
Can I just ask, what did they arrest her for? I don't understand. What did they arrest her for?
She said she doesn't know. She asked them and they said she was loud. She was quarreling with them. She was aggravating. She was fighting. She said, "But I don't want to go. I've got my children." She's got a 7-year-old, and she was arrested in front of the 7-year-old and the other boy who's 21 or 20 years old. And they were just there and they couldn't, she sent them upstairs. She said, "Go to your room." And she called her neighbor. She was screaming her neighbor's name and stuff like that, and told them where they were taking her. She doesn't know. She was taken to the van. So it's just one of a few others that I can remember. And there's a lot of them. One of my students, he's Asian as well, and he said he was stopped and searched before. So we're doing work placements because they're supposed to go to university this year. So we're level 3 aviation course. So I'm supposed to get them into work placements, and then we chose the area. I don't know if it was because the college is in Eastham, so the area, not Eastham, he was supposed to go to another area. He told me he wasn't going there. I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I've been stopped and searched before, and I don't want to go there because the area is bad." And I was saying, "No area is bad." He said, "No, miss, I'm not going." He said he wasn't going. He didn't go for his work placement. We had to find something else for him. So it's a lot of things for us to discuss. Our children know my son cannot go football some places because I'm scared. He goes to school. He was doing sixth form in a secondary school in Camberwell. So because we worried, after school he's supposed to come home. If we don't hear from him, we're worried. So there are areas we need to understand. The kids need to have their freedom. They're scared of the police. Who's scared of the police? They're scared of each other. We're scared of them. So there are a lot of issues going on. So I don't know how this can help, what we can do, or what we need to know more?
Well, once you're informed and you know your rights, that helps. So for instance, there's another website that I'd like to direct you guys to, and it's a government one. It's quite informative. Can I show you? It's there. It's the government website.
Yeah, I've got that one.
Oh, gov.uk.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, very, very good, and it's kept up to date. So I just need to also highlight, when young people or whoever young person is stopped, whether it be boy or girl, the police officer will ask you your name. You don't have to answer. They might ask you, what are you doing in the area? Again, you don't have to answer. Where are you going? You don't have to answer. These are things that a young person wouldn't know, and sometimes they're entrapped without them even knowing it, because then they're telling them the information and the police are fast forwarding it and finding somewhere to put them, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can I come in? I mean, what you're saying is these are very simple questions that I think if you answer those questions politely, you save yourself a whole lot of aggravation. If the police stops you, whether they're right or wrong, they ask where you're going, you tell them your name. Even if it's within your right, just by answering those questions will save a whole lot of palaver. And then they might just leave you to go where you want to go. But if you start resisting, refusing to answer simple questions, then you open the door for them to be aggressive and to use their power unjustly on you.
Yeah, but then you're saying it could be...
That is true. What she's trying to say is she's just trying to say their rights. I mean, it's all right for them to say their name, but she's trying to say that even if they did not answer the police, it's their right. They are within their right. So if that goes forward, because people don't know, because if that goes forward, like it goes forward in court, you know, like when it goes forward, these boys, they take them to court. They said, oh, he was there, ask him a question, and he never answered. And they will start bringing all sorts of things, you know, in, and they end up putting those kids in prison for a long, long time.
No, I understand all of that.
You know, so that's what she's just trying to
understand. This is your right, but sometimes you don't necessarily have to exercise your rights.
No, and I get you. If the police is being nice and he's talking to you nicely and he's being polite and he's conducting this, okay, that's fine. But if he's come up aggressive, he's already arrested you, and you haven't even been arrested. You haven't done nothing. Again, arresting you and putting their handcuffs on to conduct a soft search shouldn't happen. Handcuffs only go on as a last resort. So again, being oppressed, immediately stop and search is being breached because they're not supposed to do that. Again, it's just information that I want to share with you guys so you can take out and give to other young people, because they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah,
no, I totally understand that and I accept that as well. But in terms of generally speaking, the principle of stop and search, I don't think we should just dismiss it, because sometimes maybe you're going to have like 5 or 10% people who've been stopped and searched, which is not right. But by and large, I think it's a good thing to keep the young people safe for themselves, for their own good, and also to keep the community safe as well. Because stopping that in itself I don't think it's a bad thing. I know the police officers are racist, I know all of that, but sometimes it's just a necessary means to an end to keep people safe.
So sorry, I'm just going to say I agree with you. I agree. Stop and search is a tool. It is good, used alongside, etc., etc., etc. Not just stop and search, randomly stop and search. Where is your intelligence? What are you stopping that young person for? Are they named? Are they doing something suspicious? Not just because you're racial profiling and you saw a young black boy walking on the road. That's the difference.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because why we bring all these to light is because there are so many boys perishing in prison for things that they haven't done. Kids have criminal record and they're out there. They cannot even fend for themselves. They have been refused universities and colleges, you know, just because they have criminal record. It's really bad out there. You know, there are kids out there who do not have food to eat. You might not realize it, but I'm telling you, I know. There are kids out there who depend on their friends, and the friends come to to their relatives, to their moms, you know, to help out these kids. And it shouldn't be like that. You know, that's why we're just bringing all this to light so that people will know. I mean, what you have said is very rightly so. They shouldn't, they shouldn't resist, you know. But also, if they know that, if the parents know that they're within their right, and now with this social media, it might help a lot. It might help a lot of families out there, you know. To you know. Also, there's something about this when they stop and search, when the police ask them and they say no comment, also they are saying that when people say no comment, they are not supposed to say no comment, and that ends in prison sentences and all those kind of things. So maybe that's part of what the gentleman was telling.
No, I understand, but you know, it works two ways. If someone's being nice to you, you'll be nice back. But if you're being ignorant and aggressive from the day when you stop me, of course I'm not going to answer your questions because you're bullying me from the get-go. So I'm not going to information because I'm going to be like, okay, he wants to arrest me, he wants to do me something, he wants me to charge me with something if he's being aggressive from the get-go. Another thing I wanted to say is the reasonable grounds the police can stop you are if they think you've got illegal drugs. If a young person gets stopped with a little bit of weed, I'm talking like a bag that's like £10 or under, they just get issued a fine. If the policeman's nice, he'll do it like a PCN, a penalty charge notice, and they go on their way. But if they want to be a bit horrible, then they take them down the station. But usually if it's just a little bit, it's not going court, but it does go on their record.
Wow.
Yeah, and how does that affect them when it goes on their record? How does it affect them?
So it depends on that. It depends on their age. If they're under 16, I think it goes as long as they haven't been in trouble before. But this is something I can find out for you. And then later on, if they're 21, then it is scrapped. It's scrapped. This is another thing we've got to tell our black young children. Do not get in trouble with the police because they're recording things and things are staying on there now forever.
Yeah.
And penalising them, and that's why we've got this systemic drug dealing problem, because our young black boys can't get a job because the criminal justice system has criminalised them. So then they turn to drug dealing and other drugs, and then can get caught up in counting lines, gangs, blah 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 blah. That is the cycle.
This is what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that they have nothing. You know, most of these kids have nothing. They don't even have food to eat. And come on, you know, we're in the richest part of the world, and you have kids out there who cannot eat. So, you know, this message, you know, that we're all here together. It's just we have to get to black parents as well. We have to come together. We have to come together and fight for these kids. We can't just sit down there and be whether complacent or, you know, or just, I don't know if it's ignorant or you know, or just don't care or just don't want to care. You know, so it doesn't work. Yeah.
I work in the youth service, and a lot of parents are struggling. So they go to work, they're doing that 9 to 5. We can all imagine being there. You're doing your 9 to 5, your son's going through, you might be a single parent. You put trust in that child to go home and do their homework, but children are children. So they do light at the chicken shop. They do go to McDonald's. They do hang around with bad people, but these are thick young people, and they do have the opportunity to be groomed. These are things that we have to acknowledge as the black community and put things in place to deal with it. So illegal drugs, a weapon. We must admit a lot of black children are carrying weapons. Sometimes it's to protect themselves, or sometimes it's just to have it there to say, like, if you're going to stab me, I'm going to stab you. But that's another complex issue that we can deal with. Like, I've been a knife advocate for the Home Office, and I'm happy to do a knife crime advocate webinar and fill you in and all the stuff to do with knife crime. But I'll just give you a little snippet how you can end up carrying a knife and being a gang. So I was working in Tottenham Bruce Grove as a youth worker, had a young person there, had his bike stolen, he couldn't get his bike back. Gang got aware of that the bike had stolen, brought his bike back to him, said, hey, here's your bike, now you're part of the firm, now you do what we say. carrying a knife, doing shot. Do you understand? And it was just as simple as that. About 2 months later, I see his dad in North Middlesex Hospital. I said, what are you doing here? My son's been stabbed.
Oh my God.
It's that quick.
This situation so embarrassing sometimes.
This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah. You know, some of these things are so confusing. There's so much there, but I mean, we have to tell our Black mothers that again and again. We have to come together. We have to come together. You know, we can make it work for these kids. We can make it work. Like we are all here, you know, as women, and you know the men are here as well. If I know, I mean, it's like the African circle. If I know that your son is bad, I'm going to tell you. If I will beat him before I tell you, you know, because it takes a community to bring up a child.
That's right. We don't have no community cohesion.
No, at all.
It's disenfranchised. It's fragmented, and we need to come together.
I was talking to my kids the other day when we used to live in Stamford Hill.
Oh, okay,
it was such a beautiful community, you know, everyone knew each other. All the mothers, you know, one day I was in the supermarket and my daughter ran away and I was looking for her all over, not knowing that someone saw her standing by the road and just was holding her hand and trying to look for me. You know, it was such a good community, but no more. We are so angry. I mean, we are so angry because most mothers, most mothers are not doing 9 to 5 anymore. We're doing 7:45 to 7:45, nursing, healthcare assistant, or healthcare workers. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Parents, so the absenteeism of the father, they need to be more involved because because women we can't be fathers. They need to have that man talk, that influence, that sit down conversation, that person that they're looking up to. They end up in the gang because they have no father figure and they're looking for someone to go, you know what, bro? Yes, man. Wicked what we've done, you know.
That's gonna be all day topic, you know, with these fathers, you know. That's gonna be all day topic with these fathers.
Yeah, can I say something?
You know, I think we have to. We as women, sorry, gentlemen. We as women, I think we need to go to the government. They have to do something more, something drastic. UK is not that. It's not as bad as America. America is so terrible that I don't think I ever want to visit America. You know, if people can even refrain from going to America, that's fine. You know, it's so bad. You know, I cannot take it. Even as a mother, look at, you know, we're looking at news, what these people, what our kids are going through, what our brothers are going through. For what? It does not make sense. It does not make sense.
Belinda wanted to come in. Sorry.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Belinda wanted to comment. Sharon, sorry.
Sorry, I know. There's loads of issues, complex issues we have as a community that we need to deal with. But I just wanted to quickly get back and then you guys can debate what you want.
All right.
So again, if the police think that you've stolen property, a young person who's stolen a phone, maybe, lots of children steal phones, pocket money, a bag, trainers, someone's jacket, you know, young people do that. If they think that you've stolen something from somebody, you can also be stopped and searched. And maybe something to commit a crime. Say like you're a burglar and you've got a crowbar and a dodgy bag. They will stop you. And the only reason when the police can stop you, no matter what time, is a Section 60. You guys know what the Section 60 is?
No.
Okay,
No.
I'll tell you what the Section 60. Please look it up because it's quite important. A Section 60.
Section
60.
Okay.
It's when there's been a whole heap of, so I live in Edmonton. We just had someone shot. I could look out my window, there's the police station, the estate's there, and the person got shot next to the police station.
Can you imagine?
Oh, nonsense.
Right. Okay. So that's what I'm. So that's what I'm saying. There's loads of issues. So a section 60 is if there is loads of violence in the area, so we're in Edmonton, say like there was 5 stabbings, 3 shootings, and there was just loads of crime going in one day, the police do a blanket ban called the section 60, and they basically issue that to that borough, and from say like 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning, anybody that's out of road that's black, stop and search.
That's true, though. I agree with that. I agree with that because they are hurting each other.
Yeah, but what if you've just come from work? What if you've just done your NHS job and you're just coming home from work? This is again the stop and search. It can't just be blanket ban. Not everybody's just square or circle.
I don't think they're doing it to workers though. If you show them your badge, I don't think they're going to stop and search. They're going to search you anyway.
They did that. They did
Anybody
that.
anytime.
They
You need to understand that they search anybody at any time.
Yeah. Anytime.
Sharon, can you please give Melinda this opportunity to talk? Sorry, I have to hold him because he's been waiting to say something.
Oh, sorry, I can't. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was going to comment on the community. You were talking about community. That's what I'm saying. I said the community in the world in general. Anyway, community. When we have a community, things are much better because everybody looks after everybody. But these days now, nobody does that. And I believe community is broken down because of affluent. Affluent. When people are affluent, they just think about themselves, not about anybody else. But before, we all grew up together. Your mother knows that the mother, the child knows, everybody knew everybody else. So we sort of looked after each other. So that community spirit, I think that's what's causing a lot of problem in this world nowadays. If we had that community spirit, that community going on, things would be much better. I believe. I may be wrong, but that's what I believe.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. We all agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Melinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sharon, we are back to you.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
So let me just give a summary. So before the police officer can stop and search you, he must tell you his name and the police station, what they expect to find. So I'm blah blah blah, and I'm stopping you on suspicion of having smoked marijuana or selling drugs. They must give you a reason, and the reason why they want to search you. They must tell you why. They need to give you a section of the law, like section blah 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 under this act. I'm stopping and searching you, and that you must request a record of your search. And if they say no, they don't, which is what they do most of the time, or they don't even tell you, just said request a copy and go to the station. And then lastly, in terms of removing clothes, I must say this is quite important. A police officer can tell you to take off your coat, your gloves, your jacket, but he can't tell you to take off your turban if you're religious, if you're a Rasta. Anything to do with religion, he cannot tell you to take or remove off. And if they do, they need to do it without public view. Not in public view. So either in the station, in the van, somewhere private. And then and if obviously the last one is if he wants to do a more intimate search, it must be of the same sex. That's more or less my overview of the whole stop and search now. So I'm done.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a bonus.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the information.
Has anyone got Miss Alio Furthercar? Welcome. You haven't introduced yourself to the panel. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure of being here. I've enjoyed the whole discussion so far. The truth is that what obtains out there in UK is a little more different from what happens here in Nigeria.
Okay.
Because in Nigeria here, the police most of the police operations are criminal in nature. And I think what's happening over there in UK is too much of freedom for the younger ones.
Yeah.
But right here in Nigeria, we are attempting to take the kids off the streets, because the new generation is actually getting the kids into drugs, and drugs-induced crime. You know, they go together.
Yeah.
So we must do something deliberately to get our kids off the streets, of crime and of drugs. The only way we can do this is to get closer to them, because these days in the new generation, parents are no longer close to their kids. Everybody's pursuing a material wealth and all that. At the end of the day, the kids are on their own and at the mercy of nannies and whatever. So that in itself is affecting the upbringing of kids, and it propels them into all sorts of things, all sorts of habits, peer groups, gangsterism, drugs, and from drugs into crime. So we must be up and doing to make sure we are close to our kids. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We appreciate that.
Mm. I want to say something quickly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And for me, what I think on this country, there's two groups for the young boys. There's some groups who went to school, they study everything. And the other group, they don't want to go to school. They want to just only mess up. They want only to be do jealousy for the other children who want to go to school or learn something. But that kind of a child, they have everything on this country. So sometimes, because I'm teaching in school too, so sometimes I'm seeing myself, I say, why is that? You got everything in this country to go to your study. If you don't want to go to school, you can do some training there and do something for your life. But I've seen that they see a boy that go to school, or that boy got something to do, that he has a work. They just are jealous, they want to do something bad to this, that kind of a boy. So this kind of a boy, I think for me, they have a serious problem. Sometimes not because of the parents didn't look after them. Sometimes the parents give everything for their child, but they don't want to do it. They want to do their own thing, easy money. So now they have to stab other people to have anything on their pocket. So that one is very bad. So for me, it's not all the children who are bad. There's some children who are focused to do good thing, and there's some children they are very bad. They want to mess life for the other children. So that one we have to open the eyes and fight for that kind of a boy or children. Seriously.
Yeah.
And the parents sometimes do everything, but they're fed up sometimes. So that one, they kind of change. I think that they need some help, because for me it's not normal. It's not serious at all. It's not serious for me. Yeah. That thing I see. Yeah.
That is so true. Like,
and they push the other children. Oh, you go, stop it. No, don't have it easy money. Don't go to school. Don't do that. Don't, you see? And this boy, when he come home, he changed. He don't listen to parents anymore. He want to do what the friend are do outside. This is the way that some children are mess up their life.
That's the teenage influence.
Yeah.
My son was a very good child until he got to secondary school. You see, when he got to secondary school and started mixing with all the other children, he turned into a monster. I couldn't control.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
And he was doing everything that I had instilled in him not to. I couldn't believe it.
Sorry. Yeah.
And it was school. It was his influences, his people you hang around with. I want to be in that group. I want to be part of that. It's the in group, and it just led from there. I didn't do anything. I gave him money. You understand? And chores in the house. He still ended up going out there and looting. That was and that was me. I'm going to be honest. But he didn't have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I asked him, son, but why did you go out there and do that? When I you, the day I told him in front of all his friends, please don't go out tonight.
Yeah.
You see that thing on TV, stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the only one out of his group of friends that didn't listen.
Yeah.
So what can you do? Not
Yeah.
time. When I asked him, he said, Mum, I just wanted more.
More of what?
Mm-hmm.
Money.
Money.
Mm-hmm.
So do
It's very
what?
hard, yeah.
You have food. You have food at home. You know. You have
Yeah,
pocket money. You have clothes. You know. What do you want more of? You know.
It wasn't
Sometimes I don't
satisfied.
think. Yeah. Sometimes I don't think they
Right.
eat. Yeah. It's not right. You know.
All right.
And we are losing, you know, we are losing control. We are losing control of these kids. And sometimes, you know, the men are blaming the women. They are saying that, oh, she wants to be a single mom. No, because you want to have another wife somewhere or a girlfriend somewhere. So you
It's
have
not the case all the time.
you haven't given chance, you know, to the
Yeah.
wife that you have. You haven't given chance to those children that you have. You know, so you've left that woman down. You've left her to struggle with the kids.
Yeah.
Look at what is happening. You know, a lot of us have. It's funny. We don't get along as women, but we have similar stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of us are single mothers.
Yeah.
A lot of
But
us have been married once or twice and don't even want to get married anymore. We're confused.
I haven't been married at all. So.
I feel sorry for the men in this group, but
Sorry,
anyway,
sorry.
there are good fathers
We are
out
so
there.
scared.
You're kidding me. Yeah.
Because we are so
Too
busy.
much.
We are so busy running after these kids. We are exhausted.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
exhausted. We can feel it, you know.
But sis, there are other good men out there. I know if
Okay, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
who actually look after their children more than the wives or the parents, because
darling, it's only 10%.
Yeah, but
100,
still,
it's only 10%. That is not good enough. When you are a father, you should be a father. It should be 10%. It should be 100%. They should be looking after those kids. I think there should be laws, you know, there should be laws whether you leave your wife or not. Seriously though,
now
there should be laws that whether you leave your wife or not, you have to be responsible for that child. Because if these men were responsible for those children, us mothers wouldn't be going to work from 6 o'clock in the morning and coming back at 10 o'clock at night. Probably you miss the bus, you know, or you miss the train or something, and that child is all by themselves. It is wrong.
But seriously, again, I'll come back to this. Sorry, since there are so many other fathers who are doing very good jobs. But sometimes, let me tell you the fact, sometimes as a parent, we women want to become men as well, superiority. And as well, we want to take the opportunity to look after the children ourselves because we think the father is not in the picture, he's not doing the right thing to us. No. I'm just saying, I'm giving you scenarios. It's not, that's one scenario of one group of women who may have.
What would you do? Do you want to leave your kids if you are the only mother, the only parent there? What do you want to, would you like to leave your kids to perish just because you've been wrong, because you're a single mother? No. You have to be father and mother, you know. That part of your mind, that part of your mind is out. All you have to do, I have to feed these kids, I have to buy uniform for them. Darling, it's a huge responsibility.
Can I say something quickly because my battery is running out?
Yes,
sorry,
darling, that's okay.
I mean, all what we have said is correct. We always blame the parents. Sometimes we tend to look at the children because it's peer pressure. I know families where the mother and the father are so good to their children, but the children are just, because they go out there, they want to be like the others. That's pressure. So we have to look at the children as well, not blame everything on the parents. I know the parents sometimes are horrible. That is true. Because I have a son, I'm a single parent mother. I have a son where he's old now, he's grown up now. But I'm just saying, sometimes the children, like I think Sharon who said she gave the son everything, but he changed. He changed. Why do you think he changed? Because he might be the odd one out, and children don't want to be the odd one out.
Yes.
They want to be like everybody else.
They want to belong.
And then they go and mess up themselves. And then they tend to be at the bottom end or the bad side of whatever is happening. So,
and these prayers out there, there are prayers out there, Melinda. They pray on the children. They,
exactly.
you know, especially when you have a child that is calmer and is not violent, is calmer and whatever. And then the peer pressure is so much, they laugh at them, they call them names, they bully them, and then at the end of the day, they want the bully to stop. And these children don't talk to us. It's not like they don't talk to you. And sometimes you have to, as a parent, try very hard to speak to your child to understand them. I think the other thing is as well that we are missing is the children are in situations wherein they don't, some of them don't actually believe in God anymore, or they are not in the faith anymore, like we used to do back home in Africa. You know, I'm Catholic, so I was groomed that way. So therefore it benefited me for my future, because I followed that Catholicism, I followed that area, and I listened to my parents because I conformed to it. Sometimes spirituality as well works, it reflects on the child. When I was going for meetings down somewhere around East London, there are groups of young kids who have formed, boys and a few girls, who formed like a church, like a service. They meet there, I think, once in a hotel. They do it really glam. They meet there and they talk about there is a Christian faith. They talk about a Christian faith. They help each other. They support, and these are males. There is a Catholic church in Peckham that has very good group for young kids. The kids are the ones in choir. The kids are the ones doing all the services in the church, and they go for a yearly service. I think in I don't know where they do it, in a big stadium or somewhere. They do it there yearly. So there are activities going on. So what we need to do for our children is actually try and get them to actively participate. Like my child is always locked in playing games. My son, he's 18 years old. And, you know, to get him out of the game is hard. To get him to go to work is hard. But now that his cousin and his friends are coming in to visit, and it's become much better because it's coming out a bit more. We are much more relaxed now, because as a parent, you forget you study psychology or sociology or anything that we've studied over the years. You throw them out of the window because it is your child. And you don't use that technique you use. I use that technique at school, you know, in colleges and universities with my students, and it works. I help them to get relationships with their parents. But then I found it difficult to work it out with my son. It was easier with my daughter because she's calmer. She's much more relaxed. She's a people's person. But when your child is not as social, my son is not, he's relaxed but at home, but he's not so social. What should I do? You call your families and friends to help you out when your child is in a situation, but they cannot help you out because they themselves are going through similar, even worse situations. And then I use my skills to help their children, but I can't use my skills to help mine. So I think the problem is within us as well. As parents, we need to look deeply into ourselves and what we wish for our children, and try to stop stereotyping it as we do, because we as well are reflective of what is going outside. You know, we are reflective of what we are stereotyping. We're using that stereotyping that they are doing to our children, and we're using it, and it's not benefiting us. Let's take away the stereotyping, and think tank like we are doing now. Have these webinars, have these focus groups. Like Mr. Fadaka is over there in Nigeria. He may have some skills that he may help us with out there. Maybe in Jamaica, maybe in any other country. Some people might have those skills, those information that they could help us with. And if we do that and we talk about it more openly, like Sharon did about her son and everything else, we know that there are good parenting skills out there. But it's just that the children have peer groups that are pressurizing them. How do we move away from that community? Some of us are living in these communities like Lewisham Borough, all these boroughs, and it's harder for our children to grow and be respectable adults because of their surroundings as well. Mm-hmm. So how do we change that? A lot of families are moving outside. I know a few of my relatives and friends have moved away, because they don't want to be in that situation. They don't want their children to be in that situation. Do we all have to move away from Peckham?
Okay, can I
we still need the food. Yeah, go on.
Can I quickly interject, and then I'm gonna leave you guys to get on. So I'm gonna say it was lovely doing this webinar. I'm happy to do a knife crime one, gangs, whichever one. Whenever you're ready, just let me know.
Okay.
And in terms, just try and get to speak to your children, get to know. There's a lot of things like what young people get up to. You'd be shocked. Like, you need to see. Don't see them. Children have two faces. They have the road face, the face when they're out on roads that you probably never seen. You might see a glimpse of it by mistake, and then you've got the house face. They're two different individuals. And that's what you've got to realise, that outside is completely different to the inside. And you're shocked when you see it. But this is what we've got to get to. We've got to understand our children. And on my last note, I just want to quickly plug my book. I don't know if you can see it here. Yeah. It's called Cruella. And I basically write about growing up in a poor borough in North London and how I overcome neglect and adversity, which happens prevalent in the Black community, and we again do not discuss and talk about, but I have and written it in a book. So yeah, if you could just check it out, that'd be amazing.
We will.
Thank you, Sharon. We will.
Thank you
very much. Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to make sure everybody try, if you can get hold of Sharon's book.
Cruella.
Yeah, Cruella.
Cruella, A Daughter's Tale is on Amazon, and it basically shows you my life from 4 years old all the way up to about 4 years ago, because the book's been out about 2 years. Just overcoming obstacles, succeeding. How did God save me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Different things, overcoming adversity, having my child, going through domestic violence, escaping, finding my life, getting back, just being me. Like that whole journey is in that book, and it will help young people as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I hope you talking to us today has helped you a bit. I hope you have overcome a little bit of that stereotype of African mothers.
The family is here. We just need to unite.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. You've educated us so much.
Bless you.
Speak soon, okay?
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
ladies.
Okay.
Hasina,
Ma'am.
you've been so quiet.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn to talk to us about your views on what we've said so far today.
Okay, well, as usual, we start off with a topic and then we kind of like digress, but the digression is still good because nothing that we ever bring up is just so straight and narrow. In other words, like no man is an island. So it's fine that so many aspects have come into it. I'm looking around at people and I think that I am probably the elder of everybody out of all of these people. So I may have a few years over that. And also, I know Dr. Leo, he's around in Nigeria. But apart from that, the people who are living in the UK, I don't know, maybe, presumably again, unless you're born here, probably I've been here longer than some of you have even been alive. I came here, yeah, that is true. I'm 65 years old. Yeah, 65. Okay.
Bless you.
I've given birth to 8 children in this country. I've had lots of miscarriages, and my first son is now in another world. Okay, so I have 7 live, healthy children for which I'm grateful.
Wow.
And my eldest child is 45 years old, and my youngest is going on 23. Okay, so I've had sort of like I described as 3 generations of children, because so much diverse the age between the first one and the middle ones and the last one. Okay, so I say these things because I tend to feel that, and I'm glad I was born when I was. I'm glad I was born where I was. That was in Jamaica. I am glad that I had my formative years in my country, because in spite of living most of my life in the United Kingdom, those formative years make me feel like I've lived most of my life in my country. We sit here and we're talking about community and stuff, and I'm familiar with it. The term that comes to mind is that we're talking about unity, and there's unity in diversity, and there's diversity can bring about unity. And one of the things I think that sometimes a lot of groups like these don't take into account is the diversity. We talk about the unity, but we don't really focus on the diversity. And you see, this is where the institutionalized racism has got us by the short and curlies, as they call it, because they tend to group us all into one, and then they spoon feed us whatever they think. Oh, this is for Black people. This other term, BAME, I don't understand it, I don't get it, and I'm not wearing it. I'm not even wearing the term Black. Do you understand? Because it's not something that I gave myself, neither did my mother, neither did my grandparents, neither did those generations before them. Right back to when God created this world, there was no such thing, okay? I've studied the history of where the term Black and white came from, where people are concerned. And I see that in all communities, there are things going on, similar things going on. So we needn't swallow the myth
Sorry.
that they have about Black youth and Black people and whatever that is. Okay, I find it very troubling. And I find that because we entertain it, that lady, I don't remember her name just now. Let me see. Cecilia was talking about, she used the word stereotype. We keep on perpetuating the stereotypes of ourselves because we put these expectations on ourselves, and they're happy. The system is happy for us to keep doing this perpetuation. Over in Nigeria, I don't know if with Dr. Fadaka, if he's just dealing with one set of people, but I'm quite certain that because Nigeria is not just a small place, you have diversity as well of people who come from different nations within Nigeria, of the youth that he's having to deal with. And that's probably a hard enough job. Now we're talking that we're living in what we used to perceive as the mother country. We used to, yeah. And we're here now. And we have chosen, most of us, to bend to their rules and regulations, to speak their language, we talk about our children going astray, and we don't even realize sometimes that the language that we're using of the slave master, of the oppressor on our children, yeah, is what is affecting them. So, as I said, I've parented my own that I pushed out, 7, and I have raised other people's children without payment, without anything. The last one being a young Nigerian girl who, at the age of 15, she was my daughter's school friend when my daughter was also 15, or she was 16 and the girl was 15. And the mother put her here because she used to be running away from home. I asked her mother, why would you put her here? This is a Jamaican home, you're Nigerian. What is it about our home? Right? I mean, and I didn't ask in that way, but she said to me, because she has seen how my daughter, who is the same peer group as her daughter, was raised. That was quite complimentary. It doesn't necessarily make me a better parent than her. It just meant that perhaps my methods could have worked on our daughter, and they did. And I did it in my way. When this lady told me the child had been running away, because my daughter used to go and spend a night or so with them in their house, and I was shocked at first, and I thought, no, this child, this is not true what the mother is saying to me. The next day, I got a call from the people they call CAMS, which is the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, or whatever it is, stands for. And they asked me if I was willing to take this child in my home because the child said she wanted to come here. Okay? I said, as long as when she gets under my roof, she's under my rules, not Bexley Social Services or Greenwich Social Services or any social service. It's under me.
Yeah.
Okay? She came, she's a nice girl, but she felt she could do her own thing. I set rules, the same rules I had for my children, the same for you, right? You go to school, you come home from school, don't knock this door after a certain time. Simple. Okay, that's protection for you. Okay? And worse that your mother's gonna leave you with me. If your mother's trusting me, then I'm gonna do a good job because listen, my grandmother always tell me this. If you can't do something well, don't do it at all. Right? So I'm ambitious like that. Okay? So one time she come in from school 4, the next day 4:30, the next day 5, till one night she turned up in here 7 o'clock. I didn't let her in. I did not let her in because I told her that's how the rules are around here. Anybody feels that they're bigger than me and they want to break the rules, then they must know how they're gonna spend. You're an adult now, right? You know. So when she was knocking down the door, ringing down the door, my neighbor, who's a Jamaican lady, called me on my phone and said, oh, the child is at the door, let her in, Hasina. I said, no, I've said the rules and it's for her own protection. Her mother's trusting me to protect her. She's not been running away from here, but if she thinks she's going to come and that's the route, I'm just going to be scared to say what I want to say, then what was the point of her mother leaving her here? Okay, so I didn't open it. She called the police. They came. 2 white police officers, 2 males, 1 younger and an older man. So I opened the door to them, came into the passage, and I told them exactly that I've laid down rules. It's for her protection. Her mother's left her here with me, and this is how it's gonna go. This is how it goes around this house. At first, the older one was trying to argue with me about whatever. Oh, you know, you can't leave her out there. I said, listen, if you want to take me, take me. This is it. See the wrist here? Take me. If you think I've committed a crime by trying to protect this child, here, take me. Because I made up my mind a long time ago, before I had children. Yeah, I keep telling people this. There are 2 reasons why I will happily languish in jail. And both of them are to do with my children. 1, and not necessarily in order of importance, 1 is if anybody interfere with my children. You understand me? Yeah. And I will happily do that. And the next one is if any of my children any day feel they can step in my face, yeah, to tell me that they are big now and they're going to try to, as we say, equalize themselves with me, jail for me again. Yes, oh yes, and it happened with one of my daughters just last year. We were arguing, yeah, and she knocked the phone out of my hand when I was going to call my aunt, and I slapped her. And funny enough, she just had an operation on her mouth, but I slapped her right in her face. She's 30 odd. Yeah, you're in my house. What you talking about? I'm not going back on how I promised myself a long time ago. We usually say in Jamaica, and I'm sure the whole of Africa say it, I brought you here, I can take you out. And that's how I brought my children up. Now what I'm seeing, okay, with that young lady, the older police officer in the end understood what I was talking. So he took her one side, he talked to her, and everything was fine. Weeks later, I handed her back to her mother, and she's been fine ever since. She's a good girl. She's always been a good girl, but whatever it was, the straw that broke the camel's back, doesn't matter. Similarly, me, if any of mine can't get on with me, they can get on with you. You can help to polish them. Do it the same. That's how my children are raised. I've sent my children to my country to live, not tell them that, oh, you know, your mother country, Jamaica, your mother, you're Jamaican, faken, Jamaican. No, my children are Jamaican as well as they're British because they have the right to be British.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And they need to assert that right to be British. They are not black to be begging anybody anything. You're black because you want to say that you're black or you're brown, whatever color you want. It's a color. But if you're going into the politics, you don't have to let it get into your head about, oh, you know, I should get this, a poor thing, I'm so black. No, that is what it is designed for. And we need to get out of it. It doesn't mean we become ignorant to the fact that this is what's happening. The youth are being picked up because of the color of their skin or profiling, fancy name, doesn't matter, it's the same thing, right? We know they're being profiled because of the color of their skin, yeah? But the sooner we get into this, out of this mental slavery that we're in about this thing, then and assert ourselves as God-given, rightful human beings. So when you get stopped in the street, the first thing kicking into your mind is, I'm a human being. The reason why a lot of the people will resist arrest, a lot of the times, is because they're immediately thinking, it's because I'm black.
I'm black, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? They immediately think that, so they start defending that with their action.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you think I'm a human being, you know what? Then that's the time that you do remain calm. That's the time that you start being conscious of your rights and let it kick in. Sharon gave us a good rundown. I was on the .gov site, and if you go to the .gov site, you'll see it, right? And if we educate our children, rather than trying to tell them about, oh, you know, don't get into trouble, tell them what to do when they get into trouble. I have 5 girls and 2 boys, and both my boys have been to prison for different reasons. And all what you all talk tonight, I tell you, I could make a whole book of all the aspects. Yeah, because I've witnessed my eldest son, who's now 39, at the age of 14, being picked up by police on the estate we were living in Kidbrook at the time and manhandled. And when my son did like this, he got a charge for assaulting a police officer. I witnessed it with my own eyes. I witnessed going to police station and the police deriding me as a mother for my son. Okay? So I'm saying, for me, it is becoming more and more apparent that if we keep on taking this black stance and this black thing and thinking and fooling ourselves into thinking we're a homogenous group of people, because we're not. We are not. That's what they want you to think, that all of us are the same, and we are not. Okay, first of all, each of us are individuals. Secondly, there are so many different, they used to call it the word tribes or whatever, so many different, you know, nations of people within, us. And we have different belief systems. You, Cecilia, said you're Catholic. Well, for the life of me, I don't think I could be a Catholic, right? But I'm serving the same God as you. You understand? That's a different argument altogether. So we have religious distinctions. We have all sorts of distinctions, which in this country, if you go to their immigration policies, they use a lot of those distinctions for and against us too. Okay? And we need to know stuff like that and stop pretending, oh, us, the royal we, the royal us. Who are the royal we? Who are the royal us? Just to end with that, I'm going to say the parent role. One of the things that I said years ago, and it occurred to me, and I still hold fast by it, I am a parent, And they always say, again in Jamaica, chip never fly too far from block. Do we understand what that means? Or you want me to explain it in English? It means that you cannot expect your child to be to be just by themselves, and they didn't take something from you. So chip, the chip, you have a block and you're shaving it, a wooden block, and you're shaving it, yeah?
The youth children.
And it are chopping it with wood. The pieces will fly all over. It comes from the block of wood. So a lot of parents are, I've seen this for so many years, are going around saying, oh, my child should do this, my child should do that. And they're not recognizing themselves in that child. Not just the teachings you've taught them, but what about when you were 14? They're now 14. Are you not seeing some of your little traits or your little behaviors in them? Stop telling them how when you were 14, you were a good child. Stop telling them that. Because when you were 14, you were 14. You felt like backhanding your parents, but you know you'd probably get a backhand at that time. Just like right now, I don't care. Right now, I'm glad I don't have any 14-year-olds. But if I did, you'd probably get a backhand. Because I'm not scared of police. And a lot of African people seem to have this thing. Mothers tell me, it's the law not to hit your child. That's not true. So that is the point that I'm coming to now. I'm seeing in this time, mothers, African mothers, you need to listen, right? I see African mothers with their children get on the bus. These are small things, but they're very deep and meaningful. Get on the bus, particularly with the boys, and they put the boys to sit down while they stand up. What is that an indicator of? Do you then, at the age of 16, expect your boy to be now respectful to women and you didn't teach him that? Huh? And I think that is where a lot of parents are going wrong. They think, oh, well, the baby book says when the child is 2 that it does this, and when it's 4 it does this. You need to start training your children before you even bring them out of your body, right? You need to keep an eye. You need to keep all those old-fashioned things. If you're saying that they're working or they worked for you, because I hear some parents say, oh, I used to get beaten and therefore that's all right for me to beat my child because it worked for me. Well, it doesn't always. But anything that you feel works for you, because now you're a parent, all of a sudden we think we're perfect, right? If it worked for you, then you need to make it work for your child. So I swear, I cannot get on a bus now and see any of my children sitting down. My boys cannot sit down and a woman stand up. My girls cannot sit down and an elder stand up. Yet I see African mothers putting their children to sit on the bus seat while big people are standing up. What's going on there? And you expect them really and truly, they're little kids now. You're gonna say what, at 16 or so, when they're running around, also African parents. I was a childminder once for African. I had 5 Nigerian children. And I would like to know why people are chasing money instead of coming home and looking after their children. A parent, being a parent is a job, and it's a full-time job. Even if you go to your work, right, and something happens to your child at school while you're at work, who are they gonna call? Not Ghostbusters, they're gonna call you. And the sooner we work out economically how we're going to raise children and give them full attention, is the sooner we will start to address this problem and stop just throwing them one side. Because I'm tired to hear it. I'm tired to hear the youth of this. You know, Matilda, you're saying, yeah, the youth, there's lots of youth disenfranchised. Of course they are, but it starts with the home. It starts with us. And it's not because we're bad parents, but it's because some of the things that we think we're doing good for them is just not good for them. the way we send them to school, and I'm talking like this because it's my life experience, the way we send them to school as African parents and think that they are going to come out like if they were raised in Africa, it's not going to happen. You know the reason why? They're not in Africa, they're not in Jamaica. When a child is in my country, as my children were, when you send them to school, unless the teacher doesn't like that child, the teacher is under obligation and the teacher will take that child as if it's the parent for the day. Here, they're just being paid to teach and go home. Okay? That doesn't mean teachers, you don't have individual teachers who care about people. However, the system is not built that way because we don't have the commonality.
No.
You understand? And that is why when you have the so-called black face in the classroom, as in Cecilia and other people's places, everything is so dependent on that person's shoulder.
Yeah.
To bring the so-called black children up. And it cannot work because it's just one individual and the expectation. And that's what the institutionalized and structural racism is about, because they want you to be the donkey. When she gets home, she can't even open her mouth to answer. That's why you can't bring your own children. You can tell them out there because it's your job, right?
Yeah.
But when you reach home, you're tired. You understand? You're worn out. Psychologically, you're worn already. Dealing with other people's children in your job, your paid job. So your own children, you don't have the energy to do it with them. And that's what we have to work out. Where are we putting our energies? Stop berating the young people and the young people and the young people, because we all were young once. We never dropped from sky last year, July. Okay? We all were young once. Think about how we managed at that stage. Think about if you were in Africa or you were in the Caribbean or wherever you were brought up amongst your own people, you're not having that privilege here. Yeah? So you have to get to understand what is happening in this system in order to be able to deal with applying that to your children. Do you understand? Don't just put them down if they get into trouble. Oh, yeah, you're in trouble. I hear so many of our people pair. You're in trouble. I don't want to know my child. And they think they're the worst thing. Oh, if they've been to university, they're the best. Hell no. Hell no. Nothing beats the university education apart from the University of Life. Right? My father, right? I told you I was 63 when I went to Georgia to see him 2 years ago. And my father told me I'm a disappointment to him. It was like a dagger to my heart. Do you know why? Because my father has not lived to see me finish my degree to this day. And that's what he thinks is a disappointment. Yeah, he's a barrister and he's an attorney and all of that. But so what? I told him I will never use that word against my children, right? Because all I want to know is that my children are healthy. Because right now there's a lot of parents crying because their children are sick in hospital, or they're crying because their children have lost their life one way or another. So I'm only just happy that my children are healthy. And I think those are the messages that children, they are human beings like you. How would you like if people just keep telling you all the time, you know, you're not doing well, you're keeping bad company. They think we keep bad company too as parents. My children think my company is not that good. My friends, yeah, don't think we've outgrown it. The man in your life, oh, mom, why did you pick up that man? Oh, dad, why did you pick up that woman? All sorts of things. They think it. But you see, if they tell you, and my children will tell me, but if they tell you, how do you think you feel? So think about it when we're using these English words to tell them how they're not achievers and they're disappointment and all of that. Instead of trying to spend more time nurturing them from the time you're pregnant. Stop worrying about when they get to school. This English system is never going to teach them anything about themselves. It's only going to give them maybe some academic, maybe, because it didn't help me. It didn't help me. It's one of my traumas to this day that my father brought me here. You understand? Because their academic system cannot hold me. And it cannot hold my children either. They've all been to university and they come out at one stage or the next. Boring, rubbish, false information. So that's what I want to ask parents here today. Matilda, you're knocking the men. I'm going to put myself in the frame too. One of my children didn't grow with me. He grew with his father. I agreed. We got joint custody that he should live with his father because his father had no other children. Okay? And my son came up and yes, he joined up with gang. Not to do anything much more than stealing, I suppose. Did never kill anybody or hurt anyone. He didn't go to prison, but the gang that he was with, the rest of them are black. And they went because my son apparently was just following the crowd. I'm not excusing him. That's this younger one, the younger son, right? He is now wrangling with social services. He's a single father, okay? And all sorts of things with his kids. He is the one who is the main carer. And because when he was growing up, I was not the one who's the main carer. So it's not always the men who aren't always there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the women.
Yeah.
You understand? But as I said, let us not talk about what isn't. Let us try to see how we can work together. Mother, father, co-parenting, they call it, if you can't live together, what have you, you know, and take our mouth off, as we would have said, take your mouth off for the children then, right? Because they're the product of you. So you have to think strongly. Where did they get that little bad lying habit? Where did they get that little bad thieving habit? And you get back to yourself and say, you know, when I was 14, I remember thieving out something out of my parents' purse or something. It may be small, but so that's my speech for the day.
Well, if it's not from you, maybe from the father. You should ask the father.
No, that is it. You know, it's two of you. So the mothers don't feel too guilty. Sometimes when you're, I wish Sharon was here when she said she don't know where. So because it's just, sometimes it's just genetics. Honestly, that it's passed down. That's why I said chip never fly too far from block. It's genetics. So if you have that and you haven't noticed it at an early age and nurtured it so that it didn't grow so much, then it will just grow. And when it does grow and it manifests, that it matures at 14, which is a typical teenage age, then you have to say, well, whoa, man, I should have seen this and nip it in the bud. And that goes for every relationship, man and woman too. You know, when you meet, ladies, when you meet a man, and then 6 months later, you're complaining about how he's this, he's that, he's the other, right? What's the question I ask women? Was he like that in the beginning? Most women instinctively say, oh, no. And I say, stop there. You just, you didn't see it. So what you nurtured in the man was the thing that you didn't really want because you were so busy trying to fool yourself, although you saw it, but you just, you know, the red flag, they call it these days.
Asina, bring that up for the other project.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just saying it's a relational thing. It's not anything just to do with the kids. So that's it. Anyway, my speech is over. This old lady's speech is over there.
Thank you very much. Mr. John, anything, have you got anything to add to our topic for tonight before we leave?
Not quite a lot, really.
Man left here.
Not quite a lot. The only thing is, I want to address the area about this parenthood, more particularly the father figure at home. You know, let's be honest with you. Sometimes we want to blame the fathers in certain times or at certain times. Imagine my name is John, Mr. John, and I happen to get a girlfriend. Say her name is Mary, for argument's sake, and Mary eventually gets a baby for me. Now, first of all, that baby will never be called John as a surname. It takes up the mother's surname. And then she'll go there and declare herself a single parent. I'm there. And when she then, after a couple of years or so, she gets another baby for this same Mr. John, but then it's Mary's surname. That baby carries Mary's surname. So she got they have two babies, with the surname of the mother, not of the father, which will not in Africa know what that means. So what happens is she goes to the social services, declares herself a single parent. And when the council gives her a home or a place, it's under her name and her children. Tell me, for God's sake, how can that man be devoted? How can that man claim responsibility of anything? In other words, that man has no stakehold in anything. He hasn't got a say in the house. And even though they have 2 children and you are the one receiving all the benefits, the woman receives all the benefits, she enjoys it, the man has nothing. Maybe that man is not even properly employed. So how is that home going to see a father figure? How is he going to play the role of a father figure? Because he's incapacitated, as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
That's my
there's a point there, but the father could do a bit better. I mean, you are in Europe, you know, except you have no document, except your documents are not in proper order. But if they are, you can find a job. You can find any sort of job to look after your kids. We mothers do. I think so.
Yeah, the mothers do. The mothers do take a lot of care about the kids.
So
they eventually end up taking
there is nothing wrong if you can say to the mother, okay, I'll help you a couple of hours if you want to go and do some work, or you look
when you have the good men.
And I will go and work. I mean, if they are your children, they are your responsibility. Even if you're having 10 pounds, you can give them 1 pound. That is what we're trying to say, you know. But sometimes, as you are saying, there are some people who have so much money. Instead, they prefer to go and they will keep marrying. You know, they will even go to Africa, you know, go and marry there. You know, have the wives there, and they will come here and they expect that woman to be a better wife to them, and they don't care about the kids. You know, there are so many things. But at the end of the day, what I am saying, I'm not talking about, what I'm saying is, if you are a father, you have to be responsible for your child. If you cannot afford financially for that child, at least you can be there for that child. You can talk to that child. You know, that child will come and love you even more than the mother that supports him or her financially. It does happen. But with our African men, African brothers, you know, they just ignore the mom. You know, forget about benefit. How much is benefit? Benefit cannot do anything for the kids. But it is the situation. If you are not married to that woman is not going to pretend to take your name just because she wants to be forceful. What if you go and marry someone else and that person tries to beat her up because she's carrying your name? You know, so this kind of things also, whatever the situation, I think it is an abuse for a man not to look after his children. It is an abuse.
I think both of you, there is some rights in there. I'm not saying there's wrong, but you know where John is coming from, I understand if the child is not carrying the name, but that doesn't it doesn't maintain that the man is not supposed to be within the child's life. That's no excuse. But what I'm trying to say is that yes, there are some women I know who may, you know, not want the father to be there anyway, so they deliberately don't have the father's name on that child. And then they tell the child all sorts of things. You know, we women are prone of that. I'm not going to take away myself from that, but you know, most women will tell the child, this is what your father is like, this is what the father's done, and all of that, and bring that relationship to a halt. So the child doesn't really recognize the father anyway. So therefore, whether the father wants to be in that picture or not, that father would not be engaged with that child because the child will shun that father. So there are so many different circumstances that are out of our hands, because it's for every relationship is different, like how Miss Hasina was saying just now about her own son being brought up by the father. So there was the father there to bring up the child anyways, it's just the circumstances that led to him being out doing whatever he was doing then, but now he's turned his life around. So it's different for different people. You know, the father could be there but the child can become really recalcitrant. So it doesn't matter if the father is there or not, you see. So sometimes the mother, like Obama, the mother was there and the father wasn't there, but he came out right because there were grandparents there as well supporting that child. So it's different for different people. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what faith you are. It doesn't matter what denomination you are, even if they are white or black. It doesn't matter what denomination or culture we are from.
Yeah.
When the child becomes bad, either reflective on the circumstances, the area that they live in, you know, and everything else that we've all discussed about. So I think that we need to, I think the prejudice that Hasina and myself were talking about is what we are talking about now. We should not maintain this prejudice on the parents, whether it's the male or the female parents. I think we should work together. What we should do is help support each other, build a community together where we can help each other drive this to a success. We have people like Hasina who has, you know, done well with her own children as well. You know, so there are very good parenting skills that other people have adopted, have worked for other people. But I'm telling you, parenting skills, whatever you read from a book, doesn't stand a chance with a child that wants to be what they want to be. It beats me, but it's the truth. Some children are just different. They are born different. They are just special. I call them special breed. So I don't call them, as you say, the negativity around our children are what breaks them. And these negativity are what drives them sometimes to become what they are. So let's try to be positive, at least get something positive out of this and see what the future holds for our children and help each other support them, I think.
Can I just say something with regards to what Mr. John was saying about the registration of the child, the legal stuff? It is vitally important. I mean, I have children with different men. And I remember when I went to register my last two children, I asked the registrar, Lewisham, because I wanted to give them my surname. And my names, by the way, I changed my names by African naming ceremony when I was 32 years old. And then the only reason why I went into the Europe-centric thing of deed poll, ironically, was when I was renewing my Jamaican passport, because that's how colonistic we are in our country. We think, you know, so I had to go to the High Court here to register my name. But when I changed my names in an African naming ceremony in 1987 or something like that, right? I knew that the English law says you can call yourself what you want as long as you're not doing it for fraudulent purposes. Okay? Yeah. And I put my British passport there, I sent it to them, and they put, that time I was married to my second husband, and I had his surname, and they just wrote in my new name in that little window they used to have in the black passport. So I had the two. I didn't have to do anything to prove to anyone until my country, I wanted to renew my passport for my country, okay? I did it humbly because I want to have my country's passport, okay? Now, when I went to do the children, I asked on both occasions, because I was not married to either of the fathers, which of the names is most important, is going to be prevalent, the surnames, because I wanted them to have my surname, and I didn't really want them to have their father's surname because at the time we weren't even together, right? Just for the sake of whatever. I thank God now, but I'm just saying, you know, at the time when I asked, the registrar said, it doesn't really matter. So my last two children have Zuberi, that's my name, and it means strong. So I wanted them to have that anyway. It's meaningful. And the father's surname is kind of there. So it's hyphenated. They've lived with hyphenated names from that time. Which, as I say, on reflection now, I'm glad that I did it, because even though their fathers were not with me and they never supported them, my children have grown up, they're adults, they're married, they have their own children, and they're close to their father. And you know, I'm glad I went through that process. Do you understand? It's not something that I would have chosen with my strong head. However, how it has worked out is that. Now, the process of registering a child and registering with his father's name is very important for many different reasons. And I think what Mr. John, if I picked up rightly what you're trying to say, is that it's kind of emasculating. These processes can be emasculating for the men. I personally shouldn't feel sorry for men, but you know what I do, and I love you all same way, okay? I haven't given up. And I've learned, yeah, because a lot of us women arrogantly believe that it's all about the men when relationships break up. I think Cecilia touched a bit on that. We tend to, when we go through and we complain to people, oh, he was this, he was that. But you chose him. Judge Judy said you chose him. Good, right? And I watched Judge Judy, and I know American law, different, but fundamentally it's the same. There's a difference between living together and being married.
Yeah.
So when I hear some of our men saying, oh, I don't want to get married, what's the use of marriage? Well, basically, it's just a legal thing, actually. There's nothing really else to it than legal compared to if you have a committed relationship. It's just a legal thing, but it is important. And the reason it's important is because in this country, people believe, I don't know about in anywhere in Africa, but I know in my country, you have what they call common law. Yeah, common law marriages. And common law marriages are the ones where people don't go and sign a document to say that they're married. We have it, and the law is that if a woman lives with a man 5 years, everything is both of theirs. That's a law that was brought in the 70s by the Right Honorable Michael Manley. Where our children are concerned in Jamaica, he also outlawed illegitimate children. So in Jamaica, it doesn't matter if you want to put father name or father not name, because the law is that all children are legitimate and entitled to the same thing. Okay? So if you live in a country like that, it may make a difference. But interestingly enough, in Jamaica, when a woman takes that man to court, we have what they call a family court. And they take father's absences very seriously. So if I take my child's father to court in Jamaica, the court is going to order that he pays, whether he wants to have any job or anything, he pays. And if he doesn't, he's going to be imprisoned. In this country, they don't really have that. So a lot of men can get away with it. On the other hand, there are some men who, as Mr. John said, they feel so rejected and dejected because of how the process works. Yeah, that they cannot be, and a lot of it is upbringing too, as I said before, and ironically upbringing by the mother, because their mothers will have taught them, you are the man, you're supposed to do this, you know, our African men and the mothers, oh, you're the man and you're so, you know, preferable to the woman and this, and you're supposed to do all of this kind of thing, right? So when they get older and they have a woman and certain circumstances prevent them from standing in that way, it can be very emasculating. And that process alone, even with the best will in the world, can make them feel, well, wow, you know, what can I do? What can I do? I know you said, Matilda, you can go and get a job and what have you, but the system again, we're talking about ism here, and racism is the only ism there is. You know, this institutional racism will always, it's one of the tactics they've used for years, is to make sure that the sisters get the jobs and the brothers are way down the line. Yeah, you could be qualified till you can't qualify anymore. They will find that. Let's put it this way, the Black man is the most endangered human species there is in the whole wide world. Okay? So in this system, you're going to find that so much is dead set against it. And I'm not excusing the ones that don't look after their children, because I've lived that life. But God bless them, you know, their children come to them now, so it's fine. Their children don't, well, maybe because the way I've taught the kids as well. I had bad things to say at the beginning, but then I outgrew that, you know? So we have to take those things seriously when we see that. And us women, I'm not saying we must entertain whatless men. right? That's what we would say. However, I think that we really, really have to look at ourselves and see how much we judge them. Are we judging them by this, that, and the other? And Matilda's just saying, you know, it's a learned experience for an African man to say, I'm going to stay at home with the children. It's a learned, don't care how he loves his children. It's a learned experience because it's something that he was domesticated. And I talk about domestication and attachments in my programs. He was domesticated from the time the mother knew she was having a boy in Africa. He was put on a different level altogether. Yeah. So if his mom comes here and sees him being at home, she's not going to understand. And a boy, a man, is always closer to his mother than his father. Yeah. That is the relationship. Girls are for their fathers and boys are for their mothers. You can't talk up, and even in our community in Jamaica, I always tell people in our community, right? If you are rude to your father, the community will beat you. But if you're rude to your mother, they'll beat you and kill you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Oh, it has been such a good experience today. We've even spent more time than we usually do. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your.
Thank you, Mr. John. Let's keep in touch through my Matilda. Thank you, Galaxy J4. I cannot remember your name, sis. It's a French lady. What's your name, darling? The lady next to you, Moyata, what's her name? The French lady.
Johnny's mom.
Yvette.
Oh, Yvette, yeah, I wouldn't forget. Nice to meet you, Yvette. Let's keep in touch. Of course, Asina, we live in Lewisham, right? Let's keep in touch. Leo, except I come to Nigeria or you come here. Let's keep in touch. Thank you so much. I really had a very good experience and I learned a lot. And you can get me through Moyata. I'm on Facebook as well. I do other stuff as well. So I sell tickets. So if you want to travel, and I sell tickets, so you can link me up through my sister Matilda. She's my big sister. And I love her to bits. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. Please, guys, if you have things that you are doing that you think that we need to communicate to help each other, I'm available. You can get my details through Matilda. I love doing things like this. I do radio programs as well. I've got a webinar coming up. I will give the details to Matilda to get you informed. I've got my friend in Nigeria who is a lawyer. She's doing some work, some international work on trade and stuff. So maybe you guys want to link up on that as well and join in. It's very fruitful. And we did some program on radio as well for teaching and learning during this COVID-19. We did that for Sierra Leone. So we're trying to do another one for Europe as well and for other countries. So if you guys are interested, so link up through. So if you have anything that you want me to get involved with, please tell my sister, my big sister Matilda. She will definitely let me know. Okay. And nice meeting you. Yeah. And Yvette, bonne soirée.
Merci.
On paie parler de temps en temps.
Merci.
Nice guy.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well done. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Carol. Mr. Father Car, we are on again next week, 9 o'clock, if you want to join us.
All right.
If you want to join us at any time, or if there's anything you want, any message you want to send to any of us, and get through to us. Yeah, either way. So thank you very much for joining us. And I hope you look after the youth of Nigeria. We love them all over the world. And we are coming over there as well with our awareness program. Coming there, Hasina, Jonathan, and some other ladies who come in there. So we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Good night. Never showed your face, but good night.
Good night.
Everyone, good night.
Good night, everyone.
Love you all.
Bye.